Your grace is enough for me. Sarah's going to go ahead and lead us out in this next one, because it is well, knowing that His grace is enough, but even more than that, even when things are going bad, we know that His grace is enough, and it is well.
Shaken and stirred.
is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven above with wisdom, power, and love. Our God is an awesome God. Oh, our God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven above with wisdom, power, and love. Our God is an awesome God. Our God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven above with wisdom, power, and love. Our God is an awesome God. Our God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven above with wisdom, power, and love. Our God is an awesome God. Our God is an awesome God. Our God is an awesome God. You know what? And because of that, we can go right back and sing this. 'Cause it is well with my soul. With my soul. It is It is well with our soul because of him and who he is. I just want to change gears just for a second here. Sometimes we forget how awesome our God is. Sometimes we forget that because of him, even in the darkest times, it is well with us. We have to remember, folks. Because you're the one and you calm the raging seas. You command the highest mountains to fall upon their knees. You're the one who welcomes sinners and you open blinded eyes and restore the broken heart.
Check 1, 2. Yeah, we're going to switch over to, this is Frank's microphone. And Missy, that means for the cafe. Sorry. I don't know why it's not working. Our little tricks to get people to come in here from the cafe. Yes, that's it. No, we'll go turn it up for them. I'd like to ask you, as we start this new series, to imagine, if you will, that you are, say, 40 years old or older. I want you to imagine that you have children. And I want you to imagine that you are in slavery. I want you to imagine that your people have been in slavery now for hundreds of years. And that the king who put you in slavery absolutely will not let you go. That was nice. Boom. I planned it that way. I want you to imagine that some guy shows up and that you are old enough that you are part of the inner circle of people, a small group of people that he talks to, sort of the elders of the community, if you will. And he says that he had this interaction with God, that he talked with God directly, that he had some burning bush psychedelic experience out in the desert, and that while he was out there talking to God in this burning bush, God sent him back to the king so that all of us would be set free. I want you to imagine that he has some miraculous signs to show you. He, for example, takes his hand, puts it in his cloak, pulls it out, and it is all leprous, white and scaly and so forth, and skin ready to fall off. He takes his hand, puts it into his cloak, and pulls it out again, and it's like a newborn baby. It's all nice, fresh skin. He takes his staff that he was walking with, he throws it down on the ground, and it turns immediately into a serpent. Then he reaches down and he grabs the snake by the tail, and you know what's going to happen, right? Because you don't grab a snake by the tail. But before the serpents can turn around and get him on the hand, it gets turned into a wooden staff once again. You believe him enough, but you really don't want to hope that it's true. Because if it's not true, you're going to stay stuck in slavery, and it's going to be even worse because you were hoping that you would be set free, and you don't get set free. Nonetheless, this guy goes to the king, talks to him. They have it out, and a miracle ends up coming out of that, where the river gets turned into a river of blood. You watch in amazement as this happens. You see it all. It makes things worse for a while, though. The king gets angry, starts to beat on you more. Your days get longer. You have less and less materials to do your work with, and it doesn't look like this thing is going to work. Miracle after miracle after miracle, you watch as things happen to this king and to his people, even to the point where the miracles start to separate themselves out. And so you, as a group of people who are in slavery, don't get affected negatively by these miraculous signs, but all of the people of the land in which you live are getting affected by it. You watch, and finally it gets to the last of the miracles. There were 10 of them. And you're given specific instructions for your group, for your tribe. You go back and tell all the families to pack up and get ready to go, because tonight we are going to leave. You tell them these special instructions, although they sound strange. Make a meal, get packed up and ready to go, make the meal, take the blood from the lamb that you slaughter, put it on your doorpost, because that is going to be necessary to protect you tonight. You do it, and you hear not fireworks that night, but screaming and yelling coming from the households of your captors as their firstborn sons die. You find yourself wondering what is going on, and then you hear the sign, it's time to go. So you get up and you gather your family together. Now there are quite a few of you. Over 2 million of you that have been held in captivity, in slavery, that are getting ready to leave. So this is no small journey to go on at this point. You're all flooding out into the streets and starting to head on out. And you're toward the back of the group, but you can see all the way up in the front where it is that you're heading. That's because it's illuminated tonight. There's this pillar of fire shooting up into the sky that's telling you what direction to go, and everybody is walking in that direction. So you take your family, your children, your grandchildren, and you bundle them all up, and being a little bit older, you care about some of the other families as well and make sure that they're going, and you stay toward the back to get everybody out of there. As you're walking out, you keep heading toward that fire, and it eventually takes you to a place where you are close by the Red Sea. Now, to put some of these numbers in perspective, there's only about 150, 170,000 people in all of Porter County. To get to 2 million, you have to move all the way up into Chicago to get that many people and get them all moving in the same direction. The Red Sea would be roughly the equivalent of going up to, say, Lake Michigan. And when you get there, you find out that the king, Pharaoh, changed his mind. He's coming after you with his army, and he's going to slaughter every last one of you. You just know it. But as he approaches, and you can see the approach because you're toward the back of the group, as he approaches, this pillar of fire comes all the way around the people and behind you and goes back and forth, blocking the way of the Pharaoh and his army. Clearly, this is more than just a man who had some parlor tricks who came and talked to you. This is a man who was speaking directly with God. All of a sudden, the people start moving again, and you don't know what's going on because they're moving, and it looks like they're moving right into the water. Nevertheless, you don't want to go that way because that's where Pharaoh and his army are waiting to get past this fire. And so you start walking in the direction that everybody else is moving, and you start realizing that you're moving downhill and that the water is rising on either side of you as you walk down. Suddenly these walls of water are so high you can barely see the top, but you don't dare look there. You look straight ahead and trying to figure out how much further until you can get out from under here. You keep bringing your family, your kids, and you move through on the dry land until you get to the other side, and you know it's the other side because you start walking uphill again, and the water wall starts to drop next to you. It's as if God was waiting just for you because you were at the back of the group, and as you and your family step up onto what would be considered the shore, you hear the noise behind you, and you look back to realize that Pharaoh and his army somehow got free of that pillar of fire and is now charging after you on the same dry land that you were on. And just as you step into safety, the water starts to peel off from the top and crash down on top of them. His army is destroyed, and you are set free. I want you to imagine drinking water that was bitter, and then branches were laid in it, and suddenly it became good. I want you to imagine traveling up to a mountain where God came down in the form of fire and a cloud and spoke with such a rumbling voice that it terrified all of you, but God came and showed himself anyway. I want you to imagine that you're hungry and you have no food, and then you are told that you can go out in the morning and you can get like crackers, flakes, frosted off of the ground. And Tony Tiger is there to give them to you. But they're only there for 6 days a week, because on the seventh day, the Sabbath, there won't be any food out there, as God tells this man who led you out of Egypt. In the evening, quail come in, flying in. It's like God is giving you meat from heaven itself. I want you to imagine having no water to drink, and this man takes his staff and hits a rock, and water comes out of it. Enough water. I want you to think about this for a minute. Enough water that it is plenty for the 2 million people that you are with. This isn't hook up your garden hose to the spigot in the backyard and turn it on. It would take a long time out in the desert to get enough water for that many people. This had to gush out plenty of water for all of us and our livestock. I want you to imagine that more and more you're seeing the power of this God who is leading you out of slavery. And then I want you to imagine that this God says, we're not done here. I'm going to take you to the land that I promised to your ancestor, Abraham. And I'm going to give you this beautiful land. The Lord said to Moses, send out men to explore the land of Canaan, the land I am giving to the Israelites. Send one leader from each of the 12 ancestral tribes. So Moses did as the Lord commanded him. He sent out the 12 men, all tribal leaders of Israel, from their camp in the wilderness in Paran. What I want you to remember today is the Lord, the God, the creator of the heavens and the earth, of all that is seen and unseen. I want you to not forget God as you go into your days throughout this week, because we're going to have celebrations, maybe this afternoon, maybe tomorrow. We're going to have family gatherings. We're going to go see fireworks. We're going to have lots of things that get our attention throughout the week. But as those things get your attention, my encouragement to all of us is that we do not forget the Lord. Because God is bigger than all those fireworks. God is greater than all the things that we're celebrating this week. God is God. Yahweh, the Lord, is the Lord. I'm excited about this series because this series, what we're going to do is we are going to go through and look at the stories from the first 5 books of the Bible. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. We refer to them as the Pentateuch. Penta means 5, so it's the first 5, Pentateuch. Or if you were a good Jewish boy or girl, you'd refer to it as the Torah. These books we're going to look at, and we're going to look at them through a specific lens. We're going to look at them in a specific way throughout the summer, and I'm going to explain that to you as we go further along. But right now, Moses gave the men these instructions, and he sent them out to explore the land. I want you to imagine that you are one of these 12 men. Go north through the Negev into the hill country. See what the land is like and find out whether the people living there are strong or weak, few or many. See what kind of land that they live in. Is it good or bad? Do their towns have walls, or are they unprotected like open camps? Is the soil fertile or poor? Are there many trees? Do your best to bring back samples of the crops that you see. As it happened, it was the season for harvesting the first ripe grapes, so they would have crops. They went up and explored the land from the wilderness of Zin as far as Rehob to Lebo Hamath, going